Yo, yo, yo. What is up,
Mm-hmm.
Canyon? How's that Super
How am I
Bowl?
doing?
No,
Oh
right
well.
into it. Relevant.
Uh, it was fun. It was good. It was a really good game until
Let's
like
go.
the last 6 minutes. But it was a fun one for sure. Underwhelming commercials, a couple good ones.
Mm,
Commercials underwhelming. Rihanna, love Rihanna. A
mm.
little low energy, but she's pregnant. Got to give it to her.
Oh,
Uh,
dang.
but yeah,
Okay.
the
I didn't
game
expect that
itself
from you.
was so fun. What?
No, just like that wasn't the Rihanna reaction I was expecting from a guy like you. I feel like you're pretty pro Rihanna.
I am. I love her. It was fine. It just wasn't very high energy because I mean she's
What's your
pregnant.
favorite, most recent halftime show you can remember?
Bruno Mars.
I literally was just gonna say Bruno Mars.
Really?
Yeah,
I loved it, dude.
that
The
was like
drum solo, the beat switch, dude. I still remember that to this day. That like sent me.
he's so smooth. Yo, what's up? He's got like the perfect like Super Bowl music too, like kind of like high energy poppy. What's
Yeah,
up, Renzi? Yeah, yeah. Prayers up to everyone at MSU right now. Scary situation.
yeah,
Man, that's just it's awful. I feel like there's just like no words that you can say to even describe how awful all this stuff is, man. So just prayers up. We're all Michigan people here. So yeah, that's
yeah.
literally close to home.
100%.
So
Very close.
prayers up.
But for basketball,
God.
so let's flip the switch quick.
Renzi, did you enjoy the Super Bowl? I will say, it's kind of interesting, and I actually like. I'm not trying to make a cool case about like. I'm not trying to sound like I'm above you all as football fans, but isn't it kind of interesting that like a good game, uh, has more to do with just the offensive scoring a ton of points, and that like if the game was like 17-13, just a freaking in the
Yeah,
trenches defense dominant, it'd be like, yeah, it's kind of boring.
yeah,
But
nah.
also, who cares? 38-35 Super Bowl is great to watch. Yeah, for sure. Here's my. I think I can't even complain about this because it's such a good game. I know we could talk about the holding, defensive holding call, whatever. Say what you will about it. Really, all I care about is we didn't get to see a final drive, man.
I know.
Like it
That was
was
like the
just
biggest. Yeah,
anticlimactic. It's just that like couple of Patrick Mahomes slow walk back kneels into a chip in field goal to win the game. And the Hurts Hail Mary not making it to
yeah.
any Eagles
That's
players
not a
was a
great
little
look.
tough.
Yeah,
Definitely had an over AJ Brown, Devonta Smith combined receiving yard prop that was a little hopeful that it would cash on that last play, but had a feeling it wouldn't. Eagles DBs got played with by it's tough, man. And yeah, I mean a lot of like really really good plays too. But let's get into basketball. That's what the people came here for, right?
hmm
Or maybe I don't know.
uh-huh.
Renzi's here, so I don't know if you came in for basketball.
Maybe just for us.
Maybe just for us. Let us know, Renzi. Also, how you doing? It's been a minute. Um, but now let's get
Been
into
a while.
some ball. I know we had the trade. We've got like the trade deadline reaction videos coming out as far as winners and losers. LaMelo and Terry tonight, dude. How about just everyone? We can just pull up that game right now. This game's crazy. 144, 138.
Yeah, those teams didn't play defense. That was weird. I was really expecting these teams
Right.
to show up defensively and play a slow-paced game, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes they just power through.
yeah, they're really
Uh,
turning it up.
no, this game was insane. All right, I'm pulling it up right here. Have both. Let's fucking go. Let's go, dude. No, I had some pretty solid fantasy performances in the leagues I care most about. But no, let's go to the Hornets side first. Dude, LaMelo, 36 and 15. Did not have the LaMelo thumbnail readily available, so it is HALI tonight. But man, LaMelo could have been on there, and then Terry obviously. And how about Gordon Hayward? This was nice to
Yep.
see. A lift on the minutes restriction. Now it was very efficient. Okay, 4 for 5 from
Yeah.
three, 9 for 12 from the field. It's nothing to like expect moving forward in a game that the Hornets score 144. But seeing him play 33 minutes and be productive is really nice to see. And it's just like a solid, 8 boards, 8 assists, 5 boards. Really, really nice for a guy who's been pretty disappointing up until this point. And I know it's not like super, super sexy from a fantasy perspective, but if Mark Williams is just going to play 29 minutes, I'm on board. 15 and 5, I know what wasn't the craziest, but 4 defensive stats is nice. And he'll just give you these double games with defensive stats. That'll be amazing. But honestly, everyone ate for the Hornets, right? All the way down to PJ Washington with 22, 7, and 5. So I don't want to, glean too much off of this game. But I will say I do think the obvious thing is Gordon Hayward not going to be able to repeat this. Don't get too excited. But I think it is encouraging. And not just that he had a good game, but the whole minutes restriction lift and seeing him play well is good to see.
Yeah, I mean, everybody shot efficiently, so everybody looks really good. And this game caters well to points and overs and stats. So nothing like too surprising. There's actually like quite a few of these games that went the way that most people, I guess, would have thought. But definitely good to see at least like them hit their shots, be efficient. Like LaMelo have high volume, be efficient. Gordon Hayward be efficient. Rozier, like the shooter specifically.
Yeah, and we can go over to, speaking of shooters, go over to the Hawks side. And our boy Sadiq Bey got the start tonight for the injured Collins. I don't expect it to be super long term. I think Collins will probably be ready for the next game. But Sadiq obviously started but didn't play starter minutes, played 20 here, which is to be expected. I don't even think you expected to immediately jump in, even with injuries around him, and play big minutes. But decent showing. I don't think he's like a must roster player, but he'll have games like these, especially when there's injuries to guys like Collins or Hunter, Bogdanovich. You'll see some Sadiq.
Yeah, I think it's even like end of season or when he is full swing with this team, I think he's still going to be kind of like a mid-20s, high-20s guy. I mean, just because they have like...
he was like that for the Pistons at times, so he's going to be like that for
and
the Hawks, or even
more,
deeper at wing.
Exactly. So like they have John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Bogdanovich not really wing, but he's pretty long too. Like
and Griffin's been good for them too. Yeah, they've been willing to play him decent amount as well.
Yep,
for sure. Yeah, we can keep it moving. I came for you guys. Only care about hoops for my time. Time to time Hail Mary 9-leg with every game money line. I definitely there are Sundays during the NFL season where I've got like a $2 free bet, and I'm not really feeling like building out some kind of player prop parlay, so I just sit there, 10 minutes before game time. This team's probably covering. Yeah, they'll go this team, and I just go down the list.
Right.
I did hit I think it was a $1 free bet to like $70, and those are the kind of bets where you're like, I know, you're like, let's go, but then you're also like, dang, if this was like $10 even.
I know. Then you get all greedy,
and then you're like, no, you gotta stop yourself right there.
My favorite is like I'll do like a 3 first basket players, like all parlay, and just do like $1 for like 1,000. And I've had times where you hit 2 of them, and then you're just like, oh my god, you're just like on that third game. It's a very electric. It's like everyone that hits it makes it more and more enjoyable. And it's so electric.
And not to turn this into a sports betting stream at all. We'll move on to the next game, but I will say, there's nothing cooler than going to an NBA game live and betting a first basket on that game.
Yeah,
that is just you hit one, right? And when we went to that Bulls Pistons game,
I hit one on the Washington Pistons game last year too.
Maybe it was Seth. I think he had beef stew first basket in that game.
Oh, the game that we went to.
Yeah,
it might be. I know I hit with the Washington Pistons game. That was when I went with my brothers, but.
A lot of analysis going into the first basket bets. Yeah, a lot of defensive matchup
and tip percentage, and
it's hit X amount of times this season. Can you imagine being a guy that's like tracking first baskets? Okay, we can keep it moving. What should I do with Plumlee? Oof. Yeah, this was it's something we so the winners video is up. We talked about some losers. That video is going to be up momentarily as well. But the thing with Plumlee, it's just like that move just hurts him and Zoo. Because the Clippers, we talked about the only like bright side or positive thing you can even glean from the trade is if the Clippers want to play just a big like those two guys who are literally feel like the same player for the entire game. And even if that's the case, he's still not going to replicate the minutes he's getting in Charlotte. So it's just all around. I mean, usage is going to decrease. He's still going to have like okay games, but for me, he's not a must hold. But if you could, I would hold at least his first game.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what they do with that.
Plumlee for Mark Williams. I snap Mark Williams for me.
Yeah, 100%.
He's already playing 30 minutes.
Yeah, I like Mark Williams 1,000% over Plumlee. I am curious to see though, because like I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers start Plumlee in some games and then have Zubac come in. It seems like a very much a matchup thing. I mean, Zubac and Plumlee are pretty different players for being the same position. So, and I mean, they obviously went out to get this guy. So,
yeah, I think the thing is too is like think about it this way. What Zoo is giving you right now in the season is like 10 and 10. So the way I think about that is like I think Mark Williams can give me that production consistently. So do I really expect Plumlee to come in to a Clippers team that already has Zoo and produce much more than that consistently, and I don't really see that.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, and it's so tough too because I know like looking at what Plumlee's done this season, and I remember early on I was kind of on the Plumlee train where I was like, guys, like I don't like it, but they're just playing this guy 32 minutes a night, and he's just gonna get stats. It's not gonna be pretty. Actually, you'll get one plum dog move every like 5 games. That's like, dang, he's kind of got a little back. But no, I think it's easily Mark Williams there. Upside too for sure. And I think consistently they'll be close. Here's the way I put it. The way I put a lot of trades like that is I highly doubt you'll look at that trade in 3 weeks and go, man, Plumlee destroyed Mark Williams. Like, what an awful move.
Yeah.
If anything, it'll be they both don't live up to their ceiling. That's the only thing that I see could happen. But we can keep it moving here. Let's go to Jazz Pacers 123-117, and we'll let's start on the Pacers side. We got the thumbnail. HALI with the 30 and 12, 30 points, 12 assists, and 4 defensive stats on top of it too. Oh man, just seeing aggressive HALI, man. 24 shots, still getting 12 assists. He's so good. This is just like what we anticipated games like these. He's kind of giving games like these a lot too. Maybe not 30 and 12, but like he's getting pretty consistently like 20 plus point games and having a double with assists. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Pacers are also like missing some guys. Definitely some bigs missing. So as far as scoring wise, there was some volume to pick up there. Tice surprisingly with 13 field goals, but obviously he's filling in for a gap there.
Yeah.
Couldn't really deal with marketing, right? Like they didn't really they had like the awkward of like Neesmith jumped to Tice to guard marketing. So awkward matchup wise that the Jazz exploited. Solid game from Sexton. Not to jump over to the Jazz already ahead.
No, we can. I think the only things I will say on the thing with the Pacers is I mean obviously Turner makes this a little weird, but it's a lot of what you expect. I mean Mathurin and HALI had really good games. Neesmith he's had a pretty solid stretch as of late. I know a lot of people have kind of held on to guys like Nembhard and McConnell, but I think he's more interesting specifically with what rotations look like when HALI's back. So I just wanted to call that out, but we can go over to the Jazz and you're talking about. Actually, real quick, does having 3 Hornets player matter in terms of games? I wouldn't worry too much. I want to say that like it won't matter in terms of fantasy production. I know a lot of times people will talk about that where you don't want too many players from the same team, but like Mark Williams' production, it doesn't really like LaMelo and Terry having good games doesn't really impact what Mark Williams can give you because a lot of his stuff is going to be defensive stats, rebounds. He's not going to give you a 25-point game out of nowhere,
So if anything, like it's a nice pairing, one of those nice pairings to have, like the guard in the center, right? So those lobs, you're doubling up on fantasy points or stats with those guys, and then like you said, like defensive stats is pretty separated from those two guards. Like it would just be obviously Terry and LaMelo. Like every time Terry shoots, LaMelo's not from a guard perspective. But
Yeah.
the other side of that is one of them is going to like have a good night or
Yeah,
shoot
and
well.
I never
So,
stress out too much about that specifically, just
right.
because like I mean in the NBA like that's just gonna happen anyways, so like it doesn't matter too much. Yes, you're
Yeah.
limiting your upside of both players having good games, but I mean we see it right with usage monsters. I mean look at the Knicks, like Brunson and Randall both can have monster games.
Yeah.
Um,
And with it specifically, even like if you're gonna have a duo or a trio even on any team, it's gonna be the Hornets, right? A team that plays
yeah,
a lot of possessions, high pace, not much defense other than Mark Williams, but just like high tempo. Like you're gonna get a lot of chances for all your players to have
yeah.
solid games specifically on this team.
And I know you're talking about you're probably mentioning in terms of games played for the week, and obviously when those guys have shorter weeks and that impact. But I mean that's not for me, that's not a reason to not make a trade like Plumlee, Mark Williams, the one that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't even consider that a deciding factor though for games played. Maybe for getting down and you're looking ahead to the playoffs. I think
Yeah.
those can start being deciding factors, and we'll start putting out some video content. It's gonna spoil our video or anything, but if you guys aren't doing it right now, now's the perfect time to check playoff schedules in terms of making trades and moves.
Mhm.
Because when you're able to get ahead of that, if you already know you're going to make the playoffs or however your league is formatted, getting ahead of that is a easy way to cash in. What's up, Chicago? How's it going? But yeah, we can go over to the Jazz side. I know we talked about Sexton, solid game. It's just really nice to see a healthy Clarkson and him playing, and the Jazz being mostly healthy and seeing Sexton play 29 minutes and get you decent scoring, some assist numbers as well, 2 defensive stats. This is kind of like what we expected, right? Or at least had hoped for when the move happened, right? Donovan Mitchell had left. We knew it was potentially Conley.
Yep.
Bogey left as well. It ended up being kind of the Lauri Markkanen show, and then a lot of Conley and Clarkson, and Sexton really with more of a rotational guy. I will say I kind of expected Conley to be moved earlier at this point because I didn't think the Jazz would be
Good.
above 500 after the first couple games of the season. But I mean, it eventually happened, and I think Sexton will give you games like these moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice thing. 'Cause, I mean, we talked about him in the winners video that just came out. Sexton was on there. That he was a thumbnail. But I mean, this is like 18-6 for a guy that if you held on to or you get him off the waiver wire, like that's a W, right?
Yeah.
For like what he's starting to do, and that's in 29 minutes. 50% shooting is good. It's not like insane, but this is a pretty average game. Like 29 minutes. Like this is kind of the display of what he can do in only 29 minutes to do this. He'll have games where he reaches 30 minutes and becomes more and more involved, I think, specifically if Clarkson is out or someone else is out in the future. But even with Clarkson playing 34 minutes and taking 17 shots, marketed 20 shots, like he's still putting up these numbers is a good sign.
Yeah. No, and I know like I mean, obviously Clarkson was out previously for some of these really solid games, but man, last 4 games, 30 plus minutes, 22 points, 22, 15, 18, and decent peripherals too. I mean, that's just a guy who was, I think we called him, we referred to him as kind of like a bomb on your roster, like kind of like trap card or something, just because the upside is there. We knew it was there. We know he can be a solid scorer, and he showed it in spurts, but it was just kind of, it's one of those things. It's been the same thing with Mark Williams for Charlotte, where it's, the per minute looks good and the upside's there, but if he's not going to get the minutes, it's hard to hold on to. So I feel really confident about that maintaining for the rest of the season. And
Yep.
Russ I know is probably the big question mark, but our expectation is Russ is not a member of the Jazz.
Yep.
All right, we can go to Pels Thunder. Man, 103-100. Close game. BI, insane game. Really, really strong end to the game as well. 34 on pretty solid shooting. Just your classic BI game.
Yeah, I mean,
It's been nice to see for people who've had BI on their IL for most of the season.
Yeah. Without obviously McCollum and Zion, this is going to happen. He's going to have a lot of volume. If anything, you're a little disappointed with Valanciunas, but Thunder honestly pretty good against the 5, pretty good defensively overall. It was a good showing. They're obviously a great young team. I mean, most people saw that on the LeBron game, right, where he broke the
Hmm.
record. It's kind of like, if anything, kind of showed the people that like, hey, Thunder are young and they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Defensively, like they're really solid. Like, yeah, I mean, on 24 shots, he's gonna have a really good game, and he's just super talented. But like keeping Valanciunas to 6 shots, even though he's efficient, and they have like a lot of people out, like Bi just having a game, like no one else is there. The other guys, Thunder are savvy defensively, shot like it's just kind of role players filling in the spots, so nothing crazy there to think of.
Yeah.
Shea,
I will
honestly,
say,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say real quickly, and I think the CJ injury probably played into this a little bit, but I was kind of shocked to see Richardson play 34 minutes immediately. But obviously that has to do a
Yeah,
little bit with availability of Pelicans
100%.
guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't react too much to that if people looking at waiver wire saying, "Oh my God, 34 minutes." Like obviously look at who's playing.
Right.
Like don't box score watch and think that's going to be automatic. But yeah, Shea was a little surprising to me. 8 for 21 when this is a Pelicans team that really struggles against the guards and they're without some of their guys. Like it's just a matter of, I think, these role players stepping up. And Alvarado can
How about
definitely
a
play.
time? Yeah, how about a time out here to just say shame on you, all of you in the chat who didn't pick up Jalen Williams when we told you to. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to like I don't like tooting our horn too much or anything. I'm not even trying to do that, but I think it's just like a thing for the future is when you see these young guys playing well and there's an
Minutes
opportunity
are on the
and yeah,
rise.
the minutes are on the rise 100%. And when you see that and can jump out of that and kind of use that to be predictive, man, those guys are must adds. And I mean he's not going to give you 22, 7 and 4 every night, but he's been so solid for this OKC team, man. So good.
Yeah, he's awesome. I like him a lot. Yeah, he's definitely the better of the rookies in this team.
Yeah.
Like
No,
J-Dub is
I know. I was gonna say like somebody in the chat's like, "What are you talking about, dude? Dude had 0 points, a board, and 2 assists."
yeah, oh yeah, right. Yeah, I know, not J-Dub.
No.
But how about our boy Isaiah Joe? 4 for 11 from three,
Yeah, that's the
16.
best 3-point shooter in the NBA, Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, seriously, dude does not miss. Well, he missed 7 times, but still.
No, he's the best 3-point shooter in the NBA when we're watching a game and need the other team's money line. He's the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah.
No, I think I don't know if there's much to talk about outside of, I mean, it's Shea, Jan Williams, Giddy.
We can keep moving. We got a lot of games.
Yeah, for sure. We can let's go to Nuggets Heat. It's another close one, 112, 108. On the Heat side first. Great game from Jimmy, obviously. Really, really high shot volume game from Strus, but that was on the back of the Heat just not, I mean, injury riddled and did not run very deep in this
Yeah,
one.
it's bad when they run 8 deep and the three off their bench are Robinson, Bouye, and Highsmith. Like
Yeah, you got
that. This is
Strus
a
playing
team.
41 minutes.
Yeah, this is a team that usually runs deep, like
Yeah.
10 deep at least, with like names that you
They got to fill
remember.
out that injury
They're
report with all the
yeah,
grays and
they're
the
dipping
may
G
not
League
play.
off the bench right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So interesting game from the Heat, definitely with all their injuries. Um, Nuggets wise, I mean, pretty standard. Jokic doing Jokic.
Yep. No
Michael
Murray
Porter
tonight.
Jr. shooting really well from three, a lot from three. But yeah, also missing people. This is gonna be the common theme until the weekend, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people resting. Like we're so close to the All-Star break. It's like why, if you have any sort of injury, like why go out and play 40 minutes if you're 2 games, 2 days, 3 days away
Yeah.
from a nice break. So this is gonna be a little bit of a weird lull. So don't expect anything super normal moving forward until the
Yeah,
weekend.
and I think that's a good call out too. We talk about the waiver wire being so important, and I know I talked about it for the trade deadline show and videos. We talked a lot about saving a waiver claim or two to be able to use on picking up guys who are impacted by that, just because it was later in the week that we expected the crazy day, and it was a crazy day that Thursday. I think the same kind of case in a different lens for the All-Star break. Obviously not from a waiver claim perspective, but I mean, be on the lookout for potential unexpected misses for games, because that happens a ton come All-Star break, like Canian's talking about. I mean, there's going to
Yeah.
be, I mean, it happens, right? It happens during the season where you're like, man, come on, man. Like Jamal Murray's not playing tonight. That stuff is going to happen a lot where unexpected, questionable players are just out because we're close to the All-Star break. So, I mean, you can off the waiver wire, boom, randomly grab a guy who, might double the production of your worst player on your team that's playing.
Yeah, also just double check what your league's standard is for this kind of weekend, because a lot of leagues run double weeks for this same matchup, see if your games played or games like allowed to play is increased for these next week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever your league does, because a lot of leagues extend this matchup of the week into a week and a half or 2 weeks or extra games. Maybe you have extra waiver wires, maybe you have extra game slots allowed. So keep an eye out for that too, because it's going to be a very funky double week, no weekend type of deal here.
Yeah, great point. But no, I think we can move on from this one. A lot of injuries, kind of not leaving a lot of insight to be gained from what happened in these games. We can go to let's go to Rocket Sixers, and we can start.
This one is one that came to mind when I thought like very by the book, script worthy to me.
Yeah, Jalen Green shot 20 times.
Yeah, shooting like guard play for the Rockets, shooting a lot. The big struggling against Embiid. 3 for 14 from Jabari. Good board game, but a lot of guard heavy stuff here.
I think they swapped the casual fan, not the casual fan, any normal NBA fan would look at this and think that Jalen Green and Embiid's free throw box score was swapped.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it's a bit of like the pace to me, the speed and the stamina of the young guys. You got the guys like the guards, the Maxis, the Hardens that are up in the pace, shooting more. Whereas like a guy like Embiid, just bombing down the floor back and forth against his team that likes to push it. In the Rockets, 31 minutes, 14 shots, but defensively made his presence known. Green just getting the rim a lot. So this was another very by the book type of narrative to me. Sixers still win by 19.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then I don't know if there's on the Sixers side.
Great Maxey game.
Yeah, great Maxey game.
Something we haven't talked about in a while, but
yeah, no, and this is kind of what we talked about too. I know things got a little weird. There was him not starting. I know he's still not starting some of these games as well. It's more of a rotational thing. But man, it's just games like these where you're he just has so much more upside than a guy like Tobias Harris. And those guys were going close in drafts for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing was PJ Tucker leaving the game with a calf injury. True. So keep an eye on that, because Jaden McDaniels could definitely be someone to keep an eye on. Obviously, super talented player. Love the move for them, NBA wise, and then even fantasy wise now, specifically with Tucker out. If he's out for extended period of time, that's a direct positional swap there. A guy that can play really good defense. Obviously, he can score the ball. He can do a lot of different things. So he's a very valuable asset that they went out and got. And so if PJ Tucker's going to miss some time, keep an eye out for McDaniels for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's the classic glue random good defensive stat and peripheral game. And this is the kind of team where he can have random games like that for sure. All right, we can go here to let's go Magic Bulls.
Oh my God, the Mavs brought it back.
Oh yeah.
Been watching in the background. Down 25 in the third quarter. They have the ball down 3 with 14 seconds left.
Dang. The more important question though, is that over, Cash?
Oh yeah, it's at 2:43 now.
Oh shoot, yeah.
Yeah, we're chilling. See if they can hit. Oh God. 10 seconds. Kyrie to Luka to Kyrie. Pump fake. What is happening? That was bad. 10 seconds. They need a 3, and it's just Kyrie pump fake defense. Luka pump fake. Go to Kyrie pump fake, and then he just finds a backdoor cutter and misses the pass. That was gross.
Jeez.
That's good defense though.
Well, at least I've recovered.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. No, you're good. Magic Bulls here. Yeah, I mean Fultz is one of those guys. I will say one of my, I don't even want to say misses, because he's a guy I held on to and talked about picking up and playing. I didn't expect him to have games like these with this team. I really didn't anticipate them playing as much as they are, or Fultz as much as they are.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, I've held him personally. I honestly should have probably dropped him here and there, but it's really Cole Anthony was back and then just really wasn't. He was still
Yep.
kind of injured, and then he got hurt again. And then Suggs is back, but is he back?
Suggs is
It's
just
like the
not.
guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the guards either being injured, not finding a rhythm back, and then getting injured again. Whereas Fultz, which is hysterical, has been the consistent
Right.
guy
Yeah.
out of all. Good for him, honestly.
Oh
But
yeah. No, he's been
yeah,
great.
he's been very solid the past couple months, really.
Yeah. No, and then I think, I mean, pretty standard games from everyone else, right? Kind of games you expect from Carter, Wagner, and Bencaro too. And then, I mean, we've been disappointed by a lot of the other Magic guys compared to what they were doing early in the season. So we can move on.
Yep.
Bulls side, I mean, Levine, DeRozan, Vooch. I mean, you spent a lot of time on that, and just kind of disappointing games from the other guys who are getting really strong minutes with some injuries around, like a Dosunmu, 34 minutes and just not great production. Just hard to get excited about these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is one of those things that's making me think like the Bulls just as a team is kind of permeating into the fantasy realm of like the fantasy players aren't doing well because like
Yeah.
I think the Bulls just kind of stink. Like coaching wise, they're a little out of sorts. No moves like on the trade deadline. They're in a really awkward spot of where do they go from here as far as their roster, contracts, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
the team just in general is in a bad spot, really bad spot, and you can see it's kind of permeating into the play of the players a little bit. Obviously, guys like Levine and DeRozan are just ballers, so they're going to go out there and do their best and have good nights most often. But
Yeah.
I'm not too excited about most of these players moving forward. They're just kind of bad right now.
No,
Bad.
yeah, I can. And from a fantasy perspective, I mean, I want to talk about guys who are going to play 30, 34 minutes, but it's just how can you get excited about Dosunmu and Patrick Williams, even when they have good opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, because
Right. Yeah, I like Dosunmu.
I love to see
I
him.
expected a bigger jump this season, I will say. I thought that my biggest question was if he was going to have the opportunity to play good minutes. I kind of expected a lot of, just with playing Caruso and Dragic, but even with injuries and opportunity, it's just not been great. Bob,
Yeah.
not great, Bob.
What's the latest on the Lonzo thing? 'Cause, man, he's just
I,
been
I don't think we see Lonzo this year.
nowhere near return
Yeah.
for reports on January 29th. Wow,
Yeah, it's
man.
been really, and here's what I'll say too, and
So
we talk about this
gross.
all the time. Can you guys name a player this season where there was an injury and you go, wow, they're back sooner than expected? But initial reports, it is like 50% around when the reports are, and there's times like Lonzo, Zion, re-aggravation, Bradley Beal hamstring, injuries are just they're just scary, man, and that's kind of why I've never been a buy low injury guy for the NBA.
Yeah, makes sense.
I know it's weird with Lonzo just because he was expected to be out for longer anyways, but Zion, I mean Cat, I didn't even mention Cat. That's another big one.
Yep.
My I'm loving our Kenny and I are in a league together, a Cat league. It's a keeper league. I took over an orphan team, and my two keepers are Zion and Cat. Just they have been dominating. If this was like if you got an IL matchup and you got to just like play against another person's IL with like the players' averages, I might be undefeated in that sector.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad.
Classic. All right, we can kind of wrap it up here with some of the other games that have closed out. Now there's some games going on. Let's go to Brooklyn Knicks. I think the Nets are a team that is really important to talk about at this kind of juncture, just with a lot of these guys who are, I mean, the Nets team is just like, I mean, 4 of these 5 guys weren't even on the Nets that started last week. Bridges, not Claxton, Bridges, Finney Smith, Cam Johnson, Dinwiddie. But yeah, Dinwiddie, I think my thing is from a fantasy perspective, I love Bridges, and Bridges had a great game for them. Pretty disappointing, just not as aggressive in this one offensively. Dinwiddie, in my opinion, will be the most consistent scorer. That's just kind of who he is. So I mean, it'll be very rare you don't find a game with Dinwiddie giving you 20 plus, honestly, just because he's going to shoot a ton for this team. This is probably what you'll see from Cam a lot. Maybe more 3-point volume. He'll give you okay scoring. I mean, not in love with peripherals, but he should play strong minutes if you just kind of look at this roster. And then Bridges, I do like a lot more. I think it's kind of tough. If this was Bridges' first game, I would so love to buy him low. But he did just come off a good game for the Nets in his first one.
Yeah, he's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
send the offer, I think.
Sure.
Yeah,
100%.
7-5-3, 28 minutes, 1 defensive stat, 3 turnovers. Yeah, I would definitely send the Bridges offer. I was just saying it just, if this would have been the first game, I would have made a mandatory buy low on Mikal Bridges, just because he's going to play strong minutes for this team. He's been so good this year.
Bridges, Cam, like they're going to be fine. They're going to have their roles. I think you can start to see the roles get shifted out a little bit more. So at times you're like, okay, is Cam Thomas the guy? Is Bridges the guy? Like Dinwiddie is, like you said, he's going to be the most consistent person putting up shots and scoring. Bridges will have his nights. This is a bad night. Cam Johnson's probably going to be a 3-and-D guy who can definitely do more, but I just don't think there's enough offensive volume for him to like take over and show like what he can do very consistently.
I think Cam Thomas is probably game. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. You can finish up the Claxton there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Claxton, disappointing game, but tough defensive matchup, I guess, a little bit, but still you'd expect more to him. So that is a frustrating thing. And then DFS is just kind of a glue guy. I love him a lot as a player, but he's not gonna be a big fantasy guy.
Right. Yeah. And I think the thing with Cam Thomas, who's kind of been probably the most weird, confusing fantasy asset over the past couple weeks here, but this was, I mean, don't get me wrong, he is good. He's a very good player. He deserves to at least be a solid rotational player for a team. But he's not gonna do remotely close to what he did over that stretch. Dinwiddie absorbed whatever shot volume Cam Thomas was gonna get for this team.
Yep. I mean, we talked about a little bit that those 40-point flashes, like sell.
Yeah.
It'll happen here and there. Maybe not 40, but like
he is a good scorer. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not going to be a night out thing.
Even the game he was, the thing was, I mean, he had a decent getting it a 20-point game, but that was no Bridges, insane shot volume. And you just look at this game here, he plays 20 minutes. Yeah. And then I just want to give a nice shout out to Brunson, 40 bomb here, 42 and 5.
How about Josh Hart?
Yeah.
What's going on? What a great move from the Knicks. I love Josh Hart specifically, like on this team. We were talking about it a little before. I don't think in a video. I think it was just off camera, but hard to, because we wanted to, talk about him in these winners and losers videos that are out or coming out on our channel. Like where does he fit, right? Because it's a very similar kind of transition, right? He's on a Trailblazers team with a very solidified kind of 1-2-3 option, a lot of good scores, good rotation, good bench, and he moves to a Knicks team with a good 1-2-3 option, a solid bench. It's like seems very similar transition. So it's like I don't know if he's a winner or a loser, but definitely got a lot of looks in this game. Even the last game, he filled the stat sheet. We know he can rebound, he can play defense, but this 27-point game, not going to have very much
guy.
To see. Yeah, classic. It's the Brunson Hart Villanova connection. It's gonna do it.
No, I think, and I mean Barrett does get hurt in this one, but he did come back, return to the bench. But yeah, I think Hart's. I mean, it's pretty obvious he's going to be a part of the rotation enough to have solid games. But it's still going to be the Brunson Randall show. So the 27-4-2 is probably going to look more like, at the ceiling. He'll get you like a 15 and decent peripherals, I could definitely
a guy to still hold. He's a guy that can, as long as he's on the court, he's going to find a way to give you fantasy points or be productive. So obviously, you could maybe try to sell high, but like I like Hart a lot. This is a guy that I tried to trade for in our league in the season.
And the two stars of this team, both Randall and Brunson are, they're guys who can have really strong assist nights, and still kind of get there. So
that's involved. Yeah.
For sure. We can wrap up here. Let us know if there's any questions in the chat, but we'll just wrap up here just acknowledging this Cavs Spurs game. This was the other one that had wrapped up when we went live. Yep. Donovan Mitchell, 40, another 40 bomb, 41, 3 and 5. Dude, it's been so good. And I don't like to do, I know I interject a lot and talk about like fantasy lessons you can learn from players, but I think a lot of people were discounting, Donovan Mitchell on his move to the Cavs and what that was going to look like alongside Garland and Mobley taking the step forward. But man, Mitchell's just those guys who are just proven studs right? There isn't a question. I know some people talked about like, his opportunity, and we even talked about it a little bit, right? Where it was like, well, man, this Jazz team, they had nobody, if they kind of stayed that way after the Gobert move. But man, this is just one of those, like, I don't care, man. If it's a top, top 15 scorer in the league moving somewhere, he'll just be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like once you get to the upper echelon of just elite players, I would say Donovan Mitchell is an elite player. He's an all-star. I mean, these guys, like, no matter where they go, they're going to get the ball. They're going to demand offense. They're going to produce. So it's like guys like KD, like wherever he goes, it's like you're not going to be like, oh, is he going to be good? It doesn't matter. He's going to be good. He's going to figure it out. On the Spurs side, though, real quick, I mean, Malachi Branham having, as much as I don't want to talk about a Buckeye, having himself a month, the Trey Jones injury is definitely helpful for him, but definitely been putting up absolute numbers for them.
I think with a lot of the moves the Spurs have made too, he's at least cemented himself as a guy who should have a solid enough opportunity, right? If you just look at this roster, it's hard to imagine, even when Trey Jones does come back, that the minutes drop significant. I think there's a world where he's, maybe not playing 30 plus a night, but I think he's kind of cemented as that kind of 25 to 28 guy.
Yeah, and also Zach Collins, another guy that a lot of people were probably looking at, had their eyes on with the Pirtle move, doing it like well in other areas, which is pretty surprising, honestly. 6 assists for him is solid. Yeah. He can pass, but like 6 assists, that's it's pretty good production from the minutes and the volume that he's probably going to have night in, night out. But so like 11, 5, and 6 is still a solid game fantasy points wise, 3 steals. So I know he had that 29-11 game against the Pistons, that overtime game.
Yeah.
But he's going to be solid.
During clears. I don't think anyone's having that debate right now, but
what did Duren have in the game? 30-17?
Dude, he
4 blocks?
30. Dude, his
dude. Oh, we do it again. Find a way to talk about the Pistons at the end.
Yes, sir.
Didn't even try. Didn't even try that. That was just kind of.
No, it's just natural.
Yes, dude. Just good topics pop up when they need it.
Awesome, for sure. All right, appreciate you guys watching, hanging out. Always fun to do these. Man, looking forward. We got All-Star break coming up, fantasy playoffs coming up. It's getting to that crunch time, the NBA season.
Yep.
All right. Any parting words, Kenyon?
Dame Lillard's going off right now. I'm watching the 2. 8 threes first half, 30 points.
So
absolute stud. No, I agree. I'm very excited for. Do we think the slam dunk contest is going to be good this year? That's the question. And we have a good slam dunk. It's not going to be before. People are saying 3-point shooting contest be at the end. They're not going to change that. I just don't think they are. But hey, I still think I'm still a proponent of NBA All-Star is the best.
That's a classic. Like thing. The league has changed that conversation of like 3-point shooting being the like.
Yeah, there we go. Get the old heads in there about that. No, it's still gonna be a super fun weekend no matter what happens. I love the All-Star weekend
for sure. Well, all right, appreciate you guys. Check out the trade winners video we had posted recently. And if you don't have Underdog Fantasy, you see the ticker rolling across here. Use code Canyon. Link in the description on sign up. 100% deposit match up to $100. Player props. Going to be fun. Fun stuff and promotion for the All-Star break. I can't say. Sure. I was about to say. I always say like NFL playoffs and stuff or Super Bowl. Nope. I can't say it anymore. Man.
Oh, NBA now, baby. You want to bet some NBA? You want to fill that itch? You talking about football? You fill that itch? You go to Underdog. You get a free $100 with a 100% deposit match using code Canyon. Start getting the NBA stuff ready. Probably don't do it until after All-Star break because it's going to get a little wonky. But get ready, get prepped, get that depot in there, get that bankroll. Show the honey, maybe.
Okay.
Get stuff moving. Come on.
All right, I gotta get Canyon to do the Underdog ad reads from now on.
I got you.
Appreciate it. All right, peace out, guys.